Hello, you guys. I hope you're having a good week. Sorry this is a recorded session. I'd much rather have a live session, but thank you for listening to it and watching it. So I decided to do a screencast instead of a Class Connect session. I just thought it would be easier. So this coming up week, you are going to be doing the unit on kinesiology and resistance training, week 5. All right. The objectives for this week, we're going to be defining key terms related to strength training, differentiate between the 3 types of muscle contractions, and explain the roles of agonist and antagonist muscles, which we've already talked about some. So a lot of this will be familiar. Pretty much going to whiz through this PowerPoint and hit the key points. This is all the key points in your unit. So you should get enough information from this that you might need to skim over the unit, but I don't even know if you'll need to do that. Okay, so vocabulary for this unit: muscle strength, which we've talked about. Remember, this is one of the 5 components of fitness, and muscle strength is the maximum amount of force a muscle can exert at one time. So, keywords here: maximum amount, one time, whereas muscular endurance is the ability of the muscle to sustain a contraction over a period of time. Okay, so that's like doing reps of push-ups or sit-ups. That's muscular endurance, whereas muscular strength is an all-out effort, one maximum amount of force, okay? And then strength training is strengthening the muscles by using progressively heavier resistance. Okay, that's what strength training is. So it's like going into a weight room and you're lifting weights. Say you're doing a 10-pound curl, and you every time you're getting stronger and stronger. So then you're going to go up to 12 pounds, 15 pounds, progressively getting stronger using more resistance. Then kinesiology. Kinesiology is the study of the principles and mechanics of human movement. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit more into this in just a minute. But the study of principles and mechanics of human movement. So this is basically, the kinesiologists basically study how to make, like, for example, athletes more efficient at whatever they're doing, and how they can do things better with their body, how they can utilize their limbs and their muscles and the way that they throw a ball or kick a ball or high jump, whatever it is, how they can be most efficient and then get the best results from that. And then finally, calisthenics, they're exercises that use the weight of the body parts as resistance and strengthening the muscles. So examples of these are things like push-ups, pull-ups, squat jumps, anything where you're not using weights, you're just using the gravity is the force that you're using, the weight of your body. Okay? I always have the tendency to say, any questions? But I guess when I'm doing a recording, I can't do that. Okay, so what's the importance of kinesiology, which I just talked about? The movement of the joints, how to make them most efficient, flexion and extension. So flexion, here, let me go to this next slide. This is a picture of flexion. It's making the angle of the joint right here smaller, okay? And then extension, so this guy doing the tricep curl down at the bottom, he's making it the length of the joint greater, okay? Because he's going from his arm being at a 90-degree angle to bringing it back there. Oops, sorry. Messing with my slide. So flexion and extension, movement of joints. Then we have different types of muscle contractions. Okay, so what is a contraction? It's a lengthening or shortening. It's a shortening of a muscle, right? Or lengthening. And it's a way the muscles get stronger. So we have 3 types. We have isometric contractions. The muscle doesn't shorten. It stays at 1. Iso means same, and metric means measure. Stays at 1 measure, 1 length. And then we have concentric contractions, and that is when the movement is like a bicep curl where the muscle gets shorter Eccentric contractions, the muscle gets longer, okay? Okay, so these are the terms to know. I just went over them. Isometric, same, right? It stays the same. That would be like wall sits, where you're not going up or down, you're just contracting that muscle in one position. Concentric would be the up movement, the upswing of the bicep curl. And eccentric would be like the tricep extension. No, eccentric would be the lengthening. So the lowering of that, the dumbbell, just like in this picture, the lowering of the dumbbell. The muscle's still being worked. You're still holding that contraction, but it's on the way down. Okay? Okay, and we've also talked about this. Agonist and versus antagonist. Opposing forces, right? So agonist is the contracting muscle group. So that's the muscle that's shortening. Bicep curl, bicep. Antagonist is the opposite muscle group, the one that's lengthening. So think about the bicep curl, the muscle's contracting, but what's happening to the tricep, which is the opposing, the antagonist? It's lengthening. Same as with if quadricep is contracting, the hamstring is lengthening, okay? So it's the opposing. What are some other opposing muscle groups would be things like the soleus, which is the front of the leg, and the gastrocnemius, which is the calf. The front of the lower leg is the soleus. The gastrocnemic is the calf. Opposing muscle groups. So chest, and then the lats, the back. Those are opposing muscle groups. Okay? Agonist versus antagonist. So the agonist is the muscle that's shortening, the one that's contracting, and the antagonist is the one that's lengthening. Okay. Oh, so we just talked about these, right? And they also list the abductors and adductors. So those are the inner thighs, outer thighs. Adductors are the inner thighs, abductors are the outer thighs. So it's important, and I've said this many times, to work those opposing muscles from all muscle groups, because you need to have a balance, and that's how to keep them healthy. Okay, so the benefits of resistance training. It's going to give you better posture. Anything where you're strengthening muscles, especially in your core, your erector spinae, which are the muscles along your spine, your abdominals, your obliques, any of those muscles that you're strengthening, you're going to get better posture. Improved appearance, reduced risk of injury, increased energy, increased bone and muscle mass, and increased metabolic rate. Metabolic rate being how quickly you burn food, how many calories you use a day. Okay, so now we're going to quickly go through the FIT principles of resistance training. So, frequency. It's recommended to do it 2 to 4 times per week. Okay, each muscle group needs 48 hours to rest and recover before being worked again. So, you can't do 4 times a week and do the same muscle groups when you're doing resistance or weight training. You need to give them at least 48 hours to rest. Okay? Because they've got to have that time to rest, recover, and repair themselves before they can be worked again, or you're just going to keep tearing them down. So that's really important to remember. Now you can go in and do like upper body one day, lower body the next, upper body the next day, lower body the next, because you're giving them that 48-hour period to recover. Okay, intensity. So you want to choose a weight that you can lift 8 to 12 times. If you can lift it more than 12 times, you need to increase the weight because it's too light. If you cannot lift the weight 8 times, then you need to decrease the weight because it's too heavy. Okay, unless you're into powerlifting, which is a whole different thing, and then you're doing more like 5 to 8 reps. But if you're starting out a program, or most people doing a weight training program, 8 to 12 repetitions per set. Per exercise is recommended. And the way to tell if you need to go up in weight is if you're going to 12, 13, you can increase the weight. If you can't get to 8, you need to decrease the weight. Okay, time. Each repetition should be slow, smooth, and in control. Okay. 1 to 2 seconds for the concentric contraction. So that when you're lifting the bicep curl, when you're doing the bicep curl, 1 to 2 seconds to get it up to your shoulders, and then 3 to 4 seconds to lower it. That eccentric contraction needs to be slower. Okay? You need to fight that resistance. That's where your muscle's strengthening. Okay, type. So you want to do a variety of exercises, equipment. There's so many things that you can do, even without equipment, for each different body part. Okay, sequence of working muscle groups. So there's different ones. I mean, you can work out different ways. So I talked about doing one day doing upper body, the next day doing lower body. That's what this is talking about. How you want to alter your workouts. I think that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people also do the larger to smaller. So larger muscle groups down to the smaller ones. So say one day you go in and do chest, which your chest muscles are really big, shoulders, and triceps. So you always want to work the bigger muscle first, then the smaller ones. And the reason is if you fatigue the triceps and then you go to chest, you're just not going to get much benefit from that, because your triceps, they usually help when you're doing bench press and stuff. So if you fatigue them, then you're really not going to get the full effect of working your chest. And then agonist, antagonist. You can work biceps, triceps, quadriceps, hamstrings, that sort of thing. That's a way you can mix it up too. Okay, wow, in 11 minutes, 12 minutes, I'm getting through this. Okay, so what's due this week? By Friday the 2nd. Submit the journals, weeks 1 through 4. These should all be in one document. Put them into the Journal 1 Dropbox. And they should be, each weekly journal should be about 2 paragraphs long, and they need to be about your weekly goals. So whatever your goal was for that week that you wrote on your fitness log, that's what your journal needs to be about. You need to submit weeks 1 through 4 of your fitness log, and that goes into the Dropbox labeled, I think it's labeled Fitness Log 1, and then you need to take your midterm exam. And then next week, due on the 9th, 2 assignments, the body image assignment and the fitness career assignment. They're explained in the unit. Remember, Permanent Zero's deadline is coming up again already, every 3 weeks. It is on May 11th. That's a Sunday. So Sunday at midnight, all the grades up to that point in the class will become zeros, permanent in the grade book, okay? That's all I have. If you have any questions, anything you need, give me a call. My number's in teacher contacts in the course, on the course homepage. You can also text me or K-mail me. On Friday, on the 2nd, I will be in a professional development all day. So I won't have much access to my computer and the course or K-mail. You can send me a text and I'll try and get back to you, but I won't be able to answer the phone, okay? Hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you next Friday.